Hello, warships captains. Welcome to a review of the Atago by your host, Derek Slide. So I've been wanting to do some ship reviews for a while now. I've been saying I was going to do them over and over and over and over and over again, and now we're going to get started. And I decided to start with one of my favorite premiums, the Atago. And there's a reason why the Atago is so good, to me in any case. This ship has very few weaknesses, aside from the obvious, where it can be citadeled fairly easily by battleships while broadside. Its only other weakness, and the reason I'm starting with weakness is just to get this out of the way for the strengths, so you can truly appreciate the greatness that is the Atago. So as you can see, she has no AA, so anyone trying to strike the Atago without defensive fire will be successful, probably brutally so. So that's something to consider when you're playing the Atago, whether you want to take a defensive or Hydra. She has access to both, right? She also has access to the catapult fighter, which can defend her, but it's unlikely to make much of a difference. And of course, the big thing is repair party here. This is one of her massive strengths. Allows her to regenerate after taking damage, and that's something that I cannot overstate as being important to take on the Atago, to take and to use the premium version. It will save your life. You'll make more credits because of it. The few that you spend to equip that will be infinitely worth it. Let's discuss the Atago's main strengths. First of all, she's got a staggering 40k hit points to tier 8. That's pretty good. She has powerful 203mm guns, the same ones as the Mogami basically. Nothing to write home there, but the real strength comes now in the fact that her torpedoes have a forward-firing arc that basically allows her to... let me see if I can get a better angle here. I probably can't because of the way the camera works, but in any case. Basically allows her to fire her torpedoes in such a way that she doesn't need to give full broadside, unless of course you try and get both sets off, because there are two quad tubes. So the idea is your forward quad tubes you can get off without getting citadeled every time, and that is a huge strength. In addition, they have 10-kilometer range and hit like a truck. So the idea here is to make use of those as well, and you can use them when being chased by the enemy to great effect. I mean, yes, the range of these torpedoes is 10 kilometers, but if they're chasing you, then the range is, if you think about it, they're closing the distance to you. So if they're 12 kilometers, even 13, they'll probably make it to where your torpedoes would die out. So, keep that in mind when playing the Atago. Another thing to note about the Atago is her turning circle radius is decent. Rudder shift time is nothing to write home about, but it's not terrible either. It's really decent, and this allows her to kind of like wiggle her butt as she's kiting battleships to avoid taking massive damage. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing so is if you are dodging battleship shells, if you look at your armor scheme, it is perfectly set for you to catch shells if you stay vertically like this, okay? So you want to keep an angle. You want that shell to come in and kind of hit you at an angle so you have less chances of being citadel. That's the idea. If you're got stern on like this, you're probably going to get citadel. In any case, the last and final, I know you're thinking, I know what you guys are thinking, there are more strengths to this ship. The final strength to the Atago is that her detectability is so low, it's almost laughable. And what this enables her to do is, if with the proper captain skill and the module, which I already have equipped, puts her concealment down to 9.2 kilometers, allowing her to get in closer to fire her torpedoes unseen, and if you're especially proficient, to fire them unseen and get away unseen. This makes the Atago a formidable enemy on the battlefield, something you do not want to run into by yourself. Even in a BB, I hate seeing an Atago on the side, especially a proficient one, because they really can turn the tide of the battle. This ship is incredibly powerful and should not be underestimated. And if it's in your hands, God help the enemy you're focusing on. So that being said, I've got a little game to, a little replay I'd like to show you to really give you an idea of her strengths. And of course, none of her weaknesses, because there were no CVs. There were no CVs in that match, and that's literally all the Atago is weak to. CVs, planes. So, alright guys, tell me what you think of this.